team are finding yourself spending a lot of time trying to satisfy a needy client. They're always asking for some sort of special treatment, whether that's an extra service or a product feature that wasn't part of the original agreement on your roadmap. You think you're doing the right thing by working hard to deliver on all the asks. Then it occurs to you to do an analysis. You run the numbers and realize that this client is actually costing you money. You're spending more in time, effort, and company resources to keep them happy than they're paying you. This situation is real. It actually happened to a client of mine, a business owner who realized that the client who took most of his team's time wasn't profitable. I'm Suzanne ElNeggar, executive coach and founder of Vantage Shift. I empower leaders to transform from reactive to strategic, to lead with clarity and confidence, and to amplify their impact. In this video, together we'll explore first, what makes a good or bad customer, and then the effect of both bad and good customers on your team and the bottom line. And then finally, what can you do to ensure that you're focusing on the right customers for your business? We'll also answer the question, what should I do when I realize that I have a customer who's draining my resources? First, let's look at the reality of bad customers. So what makes a customer bad? Well, first, there's the high support costs. If you're spending a lot of time and effort on supporting a customer, especially relative to the value of their agreement, then they're probably a bad customer. And then there's low profitability. As in the example above, if you're spending a lot of money to keep a customer happy, they may not be the best fit for your company. You also need to look at the alignment with your product. If there's a misalignment, then these are the customers who want features or services that are just outside of your core offering, or maybe who aren't looking for something entirely different from what you offer, but just want constant tweaks. They're going to be a drain on your resources and ultimately your profits. Then there's also poor cultural fit. This can be a tough problem to fix for companies with a social mission, but customers whose values, communication style, or expectations clash with your business model are bad customers. So how do bad customers drain resources? Well, they cost you in time. They open a lot of support tickets. They have frequent escalations and they require constant hand-holding. They drive up your support costs. The more difficult the customer, the more you end up spending on support. Difficult customers drive costs to the higher end of the range, which can be up to a significant percentage of your revenue, maybe even as high as 20% or more. They waste engineering resources. Custom feature requests and one-off solutions that don't scale, but that you agree to, occupy your engineering team and prevent them from working on profitable, desirable features and updates. Bad customers also have an emotional toll on your team. The burnout from dealing with unreasonable demands and negative interactions with bad customers can make team members lose both their energy and their drive. And this burnout can have a direct effect on their ability to focus on revenue opportunities with better clients. What's the impact of bad customers on your profit margins? Well, you're losing money. For bad customers, the acquisition costs plus the ongoing support costs often exceed their lifetime value. The cost of retaining bad customers is high. You also lose opportunities. Because when you're focusing your resources on bad customers, you're not serving the good customers who could potentially upsell or cross-sell. You're also not committing those precious resources to product development that aligns with your roadmap and is scalable and attractive to good customers. You're also wasting resources on non-scalable solutions. Bad customers often demand customizations that divert focus from the scalable solutions that actually meet needs of the whole market. So what are the warning signs of bad customers? Well, top of the list is the payment issues. Bad customers will delay payments, demand special terms that aren't favorable for your business, and they also can threaten not to pay over what they perceive to be even the smallest slight. Bad customers constantly try to negotiate better pricing. They claim that they're just not getting the value for the price they're paying, and they resist efforts to put them on an agreement that makes sense for their usage, even when the data shows it's a good deal for them. Bad customers often have unrealistic expectations about product capabilities. They demand that you add features that were never promised or even on the road. They also frequently want product or services delivered on timelines that they make up rather than what works for your company. Customers will sometimes refuse to engage or will engage half heartedly with your team when you're conducting training or onboarding for their purchase. They will then complain that you haven't done enough to help them. Bad customers also frequently threaten to leave or badmouth you to other customers or potential customers. If you're ready to accelerate your leadership journey and amplify your impact, I'd love to support you. Book a free discovery call at vantageshiftcoaching.com. Now let's look at the power of good customers. What makes a customer good? Well, there's usually very strong product market fit. They use your product or services as you intended. They're aligned with your roadmap and they see clear value in working with you. They have very reasonable support needs. Yes, they'll call this support, but they also avail themselves of self-service resources and they ask for support only when they are genuinely stumped or have found an issue that requires attention. You'll also find that these good customers only negotiate the pricing while you're forming the agreement. Once signed, they pay on time with no fuss or special requests. They have growth potential. Good customers understand that you have a partnership and then it's beneficial to both parties for that partnership to take full advantage of the opportunity to grow together. They have capacity to expand usage over time and approach that expansion as a way for them to grow their business too. So how do these good customers help drive your company's growth? Well, first of all, they become brand advocates. They tell their peers about your services or products and suggest that they engage with you. This is a really important driver for your company's visibility. Research from Nielsen shows that 92% of consumers trust recommendations from people they know over any other form of advertising. Good customers help with marketing. They willingly work with you on case studies and provide testimonials. And the advocacy that you get from good customers can lower your customer acquisition costs. A warm lead that comes to you from a happy customer costs you much less to sign than a customer that you have to spend more time with to close the deal. When a customer is aligned with your mission and roadmap, they stay. They're less likely to jump to a competitor, and thus they're a lower churn risk. And that helps with financial planning as well. So what's the impact of a good customer on your revenue and profit? Well, their usage expands naturally. They don't just renew at the same level. They will often buy more and even buy additional products or services. Profits increase because you're getting additional revenue from an existing customer who's staying and expanding their usage. That's an easier sale and much more profitable for your company than having to acquire a new customer for that equivalent additional revenue. Increasing retention rates, even by a small percentage, translates into a large increase in profits. Product or service adoption is simpler and quicker as the customers willingly go through training and they integrate your product into their workflows. And while the group that you originally sold to adopts your product, that group will help drive other teams at the customer site to also use your product, increasing both revenue and profit. There's a pop as well on product uptake as these good customers explore and utilize new capabilities when you introduce them to the market. And as they continue to understand the value of your product or service to their business, they will also be willing to accept reasonable price increases over time. So what are the characteristics of good customers? Well, good customers have clear goals that align with your product strengths. They bring a collaborative mindset and engage proactively. They provide constructive feedback and work with you on product or service improvements. Good customers also respect your team's expertise. They listen to the answers to their questions and learn from your team. They also appreciate the time that your team spends with them. Good customers have a strategic partnership mentality. They understand that their growth and yours can be multiplied when you work together. Now let's take a look at how you can focus on landing and retaining the right customers for your business. First, ensure good fit. A long list of customers who aren't the right fit is much worse for your business than fewer customers, but who are the right fit. So conduct an analysis and define the characteristics of your best or ideal customer. This is going to help guide both your marketing and your sales team to ensure that you're reaching out to customers who will be good growth partners. Design marketing messages that appeal to your ideal customers. You don't want to attract everyone. You want to attract the best customers for your business. Qualify leads rigorously during the sales process. If you notice red flags like wanting features that aren't part of your roadmap or taking an inordinate amount of your sales and exec team's time, or maybe unreasonable pricing demands, you should think twice before signing that customer. Remember that it's okay to say no. Turning down bad fit customers protects your margins and your team's morale. Secondly, you should build for those good fit customers. Prioritize features on your product roadmap that serve your best or ideal customers. Set pricing to attract and retain those ideal customers. And design support workflows and motions that suit your ideal customer and reward good customer behavior. So together we've explored what makes a bad customer versus a good customer, the effects of both bad and good customers on your team and bottom line. And we looked at what you can do to ensure that you're focusing on the right customers for your business. Returning to the question I asked at the beginning, which is what should I do when I realize I have a customer who's draining my resources? Well, my client whom I mentioned at the beginning of the video ran the numbers on his client list. He found it wasn't just a feeling that the customer who was taking up so much of his his team's time and energy was unprofitable. The numbers showed it. And it showed that his business was losing money on that customer. He ended up parting ways with them, politely but firmly. Here's a step that you can take right away. Identify your best customers and align your business strategy to attract more just like them. What would you like to do with what you heard in this video? If you're ready to accelerate your leadership journey, I'd love to support you. Book a free discovery call at vantageshiftcoaching.com. I'm Suzanne ElNeggar, helping you become the capable leader who ensures their business growth strategy and customer base are aligned.